Unmasking the Radical Right, Nancy MacLean's deep dive into America's hidden democracy crisis. Democracy in Chains is a groundbreaking exploration by distinguished historian Nancy MacLean. The book dives into the dark influences of the radical right, exposing an unsettling plot to weaken democratic control. MacLean, known for her meticulous research, paints a vivid picture of a threat that many overlook. In her quest to understand the radical right, MacLean delves into its history, highlighting central figures who have shaped its development. These individuals, from political operatives to influential academics, have collectively strived to shift power away from the majority, undermining the fundamental tenets of democracy. One such figure that MacLean brings to light is the Nobel Prize-winning economist James Buchanan. A key player in the radical rights agenda, Buchanan advocated for an economic philosophy that would ultimately serve the interests of the wealthy elite. His influence stretches across decades, shaping policies and strategies that persist today. Buchanan's brainchild, the public choice theory, is a fundamental tool used by the radical right. The theory, under the guise of economic efficiency, promotes the idea of limited government intervention. Unfortunately, this results in curtailing democratic institutions and weakening the power of the masses. Charles Koch, a billionaire industrialist, saw the potential in Buchanan's theories and partnered with him. This alliance set the stage for the radical right stealth plan, crafting a strategy that would quietly infiltrate democratic structures. Their collaboration has left an indelible mark on American politics, with effects felt even today. The radical right's agenda has evolved over time, shifting from overt calls to limit government intervention to covert actions aimed at undermining democratic institutions. Their tactics have also changed, with an increasing reliance on misinformation, voter suppression, and gerrymandering to maintain power and influence. Nancy MacLean details the controversial methods employed by the radical right in her book, Democracy in Chains. Among these methods are gerrymandering and voter suppression, tactics that disproportionately impact marginalized communities. These strategies are designed to limit the power of the majority, thus consolidating control in the hands of a wealthy minority. The 2016 presidential election serves as a case study for understanding the influence of the radical right. MacLean argues that the election result was heavily influenced by the radical right's strategic use of misinformation and propaganda. This manipulation of public opinion is a key tactic in their stealth plan to reshape democracy. Misinformation and propaganda have become powerful tools in the radical right's arsenal. By distorting facts and sowing doubt, they are able to shape public opinion to suit their agenda. This strategic use of misinformation is a key element of their stealth plan to undermine democracy. The radical right has also targeted public education as part of their plan. MacLean argues that by undermining public education, they aim to create a society less equipped to challenge their ideologies and actions. This attack on education is another crucial aspect of their stealth plan to reshape democracy. The radical right, as MacLean outlines, has launched a strategic assault on public education, viewing it as a breeding ground for liberal ideologies. By systematically defunding schools and promoting privatization, they aim to suppress critical thinking and maintain social inequality. This tactic is deeply troubling as it threatens the very foundation of a functioning democracy, an informed and educated citizenry. In addition to their assault on education, the radical right employs an extensive lobbying and campaign financing strategy. They pour millions into political campaigns, ensuring their interests are represented at the highest levels of government. This method of influence not only undermines democratic processes but also shrouds policymaking in a veil of secrecy. The long-term effects of the radical right's plan are profound and far-reaching. It perpetuates social and economic inequality, favoring the wealthy and powerful. By promoting policies that undermine public goods and social safety nets, they further marginalize vulnerable communities, deepening societal divisions. Environmental policies are another target of the radical right. They consistently deny the reality of climate change, obstructing efforts to combat it. By pushing for deregulation and corporate interests, they jeopardize our planet's future, sacrificing sustainability for short-term profit. This stance is not only scientifically unsound but morally reprehensible. Finally, the radical right has significantly influenced the Supreme Court and judicial appointments. By ensuring ideologically aligned individuals hold these positions, they can shape legal interpretations to favor their agenda. This manipulation of the judiciary system poses a grave threat to the rule of law and democratic principles. The radical right's impact on healthcare policy, particularly the Affordable Care Act, is substantial. Their approach to healthcare reform, characterized by a push for privatization and an attempt to dismantle Obamacare, has led to significant changes in the American healthcare landscape. This has stirred a national debate on the role of government in healthcare, highlighting the stark ideological divide. Meanwhile, the radical right's influence on tax laws and economic policies is undeniable. Their advocacy for deregulation, tax cuts for the wealthy, and austerity measures have significantly shaped national economic policies. This approach, heavily influenced by Buchanan's public choice theory, often prioritizes private interests over public welfare. In Democracy in Chains, MacLean urges her readers to take action against the radical right's stealth plan. She stresses the importance of vigilance, political participation, and rigorous scrutiny of political developments. Her call to action is a rallying cry for those who value democratic institutions and norms. Democracy in Chains received a mixed critical reception, but its influence on public discourse is significant. While some hailed it as a definitive exploration of the radical right, others criticized it for its perceived bias. Despite the controversies, the book remains an enlightening resource on the machinations of the radical right. In conclusion, Democracy in Chains is of enduring relevance in understanding and challenging the radical right's stealth plan. By unmasking their tactics and strategies, MacLean provides a roadmap for those who wish to protect and preserve democratic values. The book continues to resonate amid ongoing political debates and developments,